everyone. Welcome to the YouTube Mile Builders Thursday night general hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion on mile railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. Thursday's hangouts are the proud sponsor of the Tuesday night presentations, the YouTube Mile Builders, eMag, and the YouTube Mile Builders live show. I want to say thanks for everybody joining in tonight's show. And here's your host for the night, Johnny Reb of Southeast Rails.
Doing good, Johnny. How about yourself?
Doing good, Johnny. We can hear you.
Yeah, y'all can hear me, but everybody in the show can't hear me because I had the mic muted. Oh, man. I was looking here and I saw Sparky say, did I just blow up my speakers? How about now, Sparky? See? Yeah, y'all got to watch me. I'm sitting here talking away. But anyway, as
thing is, were you getting answers?
Yeah, no, I wasn't getting no answers.
From far inside his head.
Yeah. But anyway, I was saying that Ralph's show on Tuesday night, I was having internet problems, so I can't guarantee tonight either, but anyhow, if you do go to YouTube, Mile Builders on YouTube, because of the problems I had, YouTube's not letting me do any edits. So look for the YTMB truck in the thumbnail. That is Ralph's show. And it shows it's only 16 seconds long. But click on it. The show is there. And it is a full 1 hour and 23 minutes. So you got the full show there. Unfortunately, I just can't get any edits on it because YouTube's not letting me. Because they only have it as a 16-second show. So
16 seconds, hour and a half. What's the difference, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who's counting?
Well, he's already got well over 200 views on the show. It'll only be 2 days out, so people are finding it. That's probably Ralph getting all the neighbors to click on the show and watch it for 8 minutes so he gets the number.
You caught me. You caught me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're coming up into the holidays, so people are going to start getting busy, and the Thursday night show may be just running for about an hour. So, anybody out there on the chat got something you want to talk about? Chime in, like always. We'll see what we can do with it.
We don't bite.
Always like good questions.
Oh, they watch a lot more than just 16 seconds there, Sparky. I guarantee it. Well, Ron, I see the hotel is done.
It is done. I am loving having it on the layout, and I am glad to be finished with it. It's one of those projects that I thought would do in a week, and 8-9 weeks later, there it is.
Uh-huh.
And two videos turned into 4.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you gonna do a video on putting it out there? Or?
I did one this week on the final details, and then installing it on the layout, getting the lighting installed and everything on the layout. It's up. Went up Tuesday.
Oh, I must have missed that one. I have to go back and catch that. So what you been up to, Ari?
I just started trying to build some styrene bridge abutments for my for that bridge there.
Uh-huh.
So we're very fortunate in this community to have Chris, our resident bridge expert, bounce ideas off of. So we'll start with him the other day and about building wing walls and how thick to build the bridge plates and all that. Get a lot of good information from him. So figure I'd start cutting up some styrene and seeing how it looks.
Yeah. We try to help when we can.
Yeah,
that's what we're here.
I got my backdrop partially painted, except for where my yard is my shoulder.
Yeah.
I got it primed, and I'll start. I don't know if I'm going to roll it like darker on top and then lighter on the bottom, and then sponge it in to get it fade. But that's one of my goals for the Christmas time area. I take a week off between Christmas and New Year's, and I hope to get down here and get a lot accomplished.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to follow along.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make an update video. I haven't made one in months. I'm getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Hard to stop progress and make a video and go through the producer. Ron does it all the time. I don't know how he does it.
It's the best kept secret on the internet. There's really 2 of me. I'm twins. No.
That explains it.
I've also been building a lot of trees lately too.
Hey, that's looking good.
Which has been fun, and that's all the Woodland Scenic products for doing that. And I'm letting those dry, then I'll mist them with some cement and then add some finishing on the top.
Yeah.
Contrast, so you can look like some sunlight and get some other pops of color in there.
Mm-hmm. Sparky 107, Ron, how is your contest going? Are many people getting in on it with an early start?
Well, I've got about a dozen people who have declared their intention to enter. I've had 1 video made so far, but you know we've only been going a week, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
But I've had a dozen people that emailed me with their intention to enter and got all the splash screens and the rules and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm expecting pretty good participation.
Yeah. And being here during the holidays too.
Right, yeah. Which that can both be either a help or a hindrance. You know, you either have more time during the holidays or you got a lot less. But
yeah.
But they've got till the first week in March, so they got lots of time. And
well, don't drink that glue.
Okay. I probably poured out on the workbench.
I couldn't pass that up. You saw him do a double take on that.
You do like Andy did the other night. I forgot what we was saying now, but he said something that made me laugh. I had just taken a mouthful of coffee and I spit it all over my computer and it was a mess.
Did it come through your nostrils?
No.
Oh, that's a good thing. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that would be bad. I told Andy I was going to send him the bill for fixing my computer, though. I spit it all over my laptop.
Yeah.
Hey, Ari, you were talking about your backdrop.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of different ways that people paint backdrops, but I'll share with you a little unsolicited. Well, I won't call it advice, but how I did mine, and I'm really happy the way it came out. I use a wet on wet method. I rolled the blue, rolled it on real thick from top all the way to the bottom. And while it was still wet, I came back with white with about a inch and a half brush, and started putting the white, put the white on heavy at the bottom, and then feather it with the brush as I worked my way up, and then stippled the clouds on with the brush while all of that was still wet, and that allows some of that blue to come through the clouds. And I was really happy with how it turned out. So,
how large of an area were you doing at a time?
Probably about 4 to 6 feet at the most.
So the size of the module, then.
Right. Ideally, you want to keep working along before it completely dries until you get to a stopping point. Some point where it may be on cover or where you make a curve or something. Because if it does dry and you start over, sometimes it's a little hard to
blend it.
To cover up that seam in the paint. But yeah, about 4 to 6 feet at a time worked pretty well.
Yeah, Ron down in Australia is asking, what's the Mudfather doing tonight?
Yeah. I'm working on an SD70 N scale.
See, Johnny, you just can't stop the N-scalers tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. This is the dark side for me. I've crossed over. This is not good.
You've been doing quite a bit of N-scale here lately.
So the next thing I have to do is the truck frames and the fuel tank and the snowplow. Where's the snowplow? But the body is pretty well done. Actually, there's a better picture. I have a better picture of it. Pictures always look better than this bloody camera.
I understand that.
Yeah, pictures do better than video cameras too, for showing up details and stuff.
Is there a webcam that anyone has found that works better than, say, your default webcam? A fairly cheap mobile that plugs in, or?
Well, if you pay a lot of money, you'll get a better webcam, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they still lack in showing good detail.
I have a Logitech 922, the C922, and I like it a whole lot better than the default one on my computer.
Yeah,
and it can do a lot better than what shows up in this situation. I've got slow internet as well, so that doesn't help me any.
well, compared to when you first come in, it was there at the house. You're doing better now than you have been.
Yeah, I keep tweaking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, my camera's a 920.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's great for longer shots, but he's trying close up stuff. Forget it.
Yeah.
So there's the local that I'm working on right now.
Oh, wow.
It's O scale. It's just not telling you that. There's just really big super glue bottles next to it.
You buy super glue by the gallon.
Yeah, yeah.
Who left the door open?
I think Johnny's guilty of that this time.
Let everybody in, don't they?
Well, you missed it, Andy.
Yeah, I brought it a few minutes late.
I know, we were talking just now, a few minutes ago. I happened to look over and I saw Ron and grabbed his Coke ball, but he's sitting there looking at the computer and he just unscrews the top and he's talking to us. And just as he got done, I go, Ron, don't drink that glue. He did a double take.
Come on, look.
Yeah. Let's see here. Michael, where'd you go? Yeah, Michael. Yeah, yeah, Michael's saying that he's going to watch Ralph's weathering show, and it says offline. You must be clicking on the live show link there. What you need to do is go to YouTube and look up YouTube Mall Builders. The show is there. It's in its entirety. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the thumbnail is the YTMB news truck, and it says it's only 16 seconds long, but the show is full length. It is an hour and 23 minutes. So just click on the YTMB truck and you'll see the show then.
It just seems
Actually,
like
Johnny, here's a screen share of doing exactly that. So if you go to this, it says November 28th, click on that, and it comes up. So here you go.
Yep.
And it is listed as 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 55 seconds.
Okay, well, it was showing 23 on mine, but no big deal.
5 seconds.
Yeah. Hey.
Five seconds is the time it takes the new Elon Musk transport truck to do from 0 to 60.
An 18-wheeler.
Yeah. But that's not railroading.
No, it's quite the opposite. These days, there's a lot of interoperation between the two. But at one time, the 18-wheeler was the enemy of the railroad.
I think it still is.
I do too. I was trying to be politically correct. It's
Andy,
there is
politically correct.
Well, there is.
Did I hear that right? Did I hear you say you wanted to be politically correct?
I try. I really do try.
Wow.
I do really try.
That's scary.
I try. I'm from Kentucky, so set your standards low.
So how's the peninsula coming, Andy?
It's getting there. It moved like everything else. It moved pretty fast for a few days, and then it don't, and then you know, it's kind of back and forth. But I got some of it tore down. I got that backdrop stuff up there, but tore down. But now you can. Now there's an actual peninsula, so you actually have a. You know, it was all open room until just whatever 4 or 5 days ago, and now you got an aisleway. It's kind of wide here at the corner point. I did that on purpose, so you kind of have these meeting points at certain places. And then you've got, an aisleway and step up onto the little platform here, step up to where you get the big views. So the layout's only 2 foot deep at its thickest. Actually, this section is only about 16 inches deep or 18 inches deep, like room for the helix. And there's another module goes back at the back there that you can see to the right side of the helix, and you get a 8 foot deep view on a layout that has 2 foot wide sections. I now have 3 places where you get pretty pure 7 or 8 foot unobstructed views, or intentionally obstructed, or however you want to look at that.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
I need free time. Anybody comes up with any of that to spare, I could really use some. I promise I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today if anybody's got any free time. So.
Where have I heard that before?
Little
you're aging.
Yeah,
you're aging yourself there, buddy.
I know, a little Popeye reference for the gray hair fighters in the crowd, but I ain't fighting gray hair. I give up fighting it.
I think Andy's been watching some of the old shows on YouTube again.
That might be true too. I grew up with Popeye.
I grew up with Popeye too, but they were reruns. They were really old.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean,
It's
when
funny.
you're a kid, you're not giving your parents a hard time for originality. You know, don't have to be original; just has to be. I don't know.
I was driving somewhere the other day and flipping through the radio and got to the local NPR station playing classical music, and Rossini's Barber of Seville came on.
Yeah.
And the thought occurred to me, I bet Rossini would roll over in his grave if he knew there were like 2 generations of Americans who every time they hear that see Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. Myself included.
You can't help your entryway into liking something.
That's right.
All those have such great soundtracks, though, and that's one thing I have to say that I find lacking. Not all YouTube videos are that way, and some of the really good YouTubers, not specifically model railroading related YouTubers, use music real well, intros, cinematography, and stuff. I don't see a lot of model railroaders that spend the effort on cinematography. You've done a pretty good job with your effort, Ron. I sure see a lot of people who don't even try.
Well, I think you've got a couple of different perspectives on how people do videos. I mean, some people are just, putting together videos to put it out there. Here's my stuff.
Yeah.
And video production's not important to them.
Sure.
It's the guys that are really trying to build a channel that usually will spend a little more emphasis on the video production. But not everybody's out to build a channel.
No, I get that too, but it's not very hard though these days. I mean, if you've got a Macintosh, iMovie, you could throw, an intro paint or something on it pretty easily. But most people don't know that it's that easy to do.
And a lot of people are doing it on their phones, and you can do it on your phone too. But you've got to, you got to look into it. There's some really good free video editing apps for both iPhone and Android.
Absolutely.
But you got to go out and get them and spend just a little bit of time learning how to use them.
Yeah, they're a little. I love working on my phone for meaty tasks. Much prefer it to a computer for very, very meaty, specific tasks. Video editing is not elegant for me on a touch screen.
Right. It wouldn't be my choice either. But for those people that are already doing all their video production on a phone anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian, where'd he go? Where'd you go? Oh, Brian W. Central New Jersey Conrail in N-Scale. That's Joe that does Into the Locomotive Shop. Has a nice original intro soundtrack.
It does, yeah. Yeah, there are a few. I really should. I meant to make sure I specified that when I was first thinking that there are a few that do. But I follow 8 or 9, 10,000 maybe channels on YouTube. Not all of which are model railroading. They're electronics, IT. I've been a huge fan of YouTube for 8 years. So I mean, I've watched. For many, many years, I haven't watched anything but, I watch TV every day, just watch YouTube. So I pay a lot of attention to that stuff on all sorts of channels, from the Casey Neistats to the model railroaders out there. It just seems that in all the communities that I'm a member of, from home automation to electronics to technology, computers, all of those fields, model railroading has some of the best, there's some of the best model railroading you'll find is on YouTube. Some of the best stuff out there is on YouTube. But yet, in the model railroading community, there is some of the least amount of video editing work. And they're editing, they're chopping the videos together. They're just not intros and music and cinematography. And it's not necessary for everybody, but it's nice to show. It is good to show a little attention to the few people who do put a little little cinematography effort in.
Yeah. Oh, to kind of answer your comment earlier, Ari, where you talking about how do people get the time to put out videos and all.
Oh, yeah.
One thing is, and Kathy Millett talked about it in the video interview we did with her, is they'll take and actually start making videos, but they don't put them out. They'll get about 10, 15 videos into whatever they're doing. And once they do that, then they start putting out, like the first video. That way it gives them time to keep working and keep putting the videos up, but they have that pool that they're working out of. So you're not pushed to have to get that next video done because you're working out of a pool there. And
you get the content.
Yeah, gives you some working time.
Well, you can get the content. If you shoot several videos first, you can take a picture of the structure complete and then start work, at the very end of the project. And you can jump around while you build the thing, but you can make your video a nice linear series.
Yeah. My first YouTube video I did was based off of photographs. So I was doing a
slide.
The photo dropping, and I would just snap a picture. Next step, snap a picture. Next step, snap a picture. And then made like a photo book rather than a video. And threw some slides in to explain like step 1, step 2, tools you'll need, stuff like that. And I liked it for that video. And then after that, do more of a live shot type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you can intermix stuff like that and it works well too, so.
Live is really hard though. Whether you are what they call live to tape, which is what most people who do YouTube do, is just basically the live to tape, straight to record. That's really hard it's really hard work to get good quality out. It's incredibly easy to do it that way, the easiest way. But it's incredibly hard to get high quality or high quality production shots or even use high quality cameras because, like I say, when you're photographing your layouts, taking a few pictures so you have a point of reference. People make a lot of very serious mistakes that are incredibly easy to fix. Like, use your phone. I mean, these phones take doggone good pictures. I mean, these things are just, these things are spectacular at taking pictures. But they don't do very well if they move around at all. The movement of your breathing will degrade that picture by a measurable percentage. So a little tripod from Amazon for $6. And use the timer feature. And a 3-second timer, tap the button, step away, let those vibrations calm down.
One of the things I noticed in a lot of people's videos, and mine in particular, is how much it picks up your breathing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it's just like I've gone through and like watching, like editing it down. It's just like you don't realize how like when you go to talk, you go, you don't think you're doing that because you think you're talking naturally, but on your phone it picks it up.
Well, anybody that's a fan of firearms or shooting, and I'm not either way or care about it, but I was in service, and they teach you that stuff in service so much. Control of breathing is so critical and photography and marksmanship are really similar in the way your body connects with a piece of machinery. The whole thing I like about railroads.
Here's a little tip. And being in the communications business for 40 years, when you answer a phone, if you have a headset on, your headset is never set where your mouth is. It's either above it or below it, the microphone. That way, when you say P or S or stuff like that, or when you take a deep breath, you don't get that rush of air across the microphone.
That helps you a lot. With a camera, as you breathe to take that shot, as you prep for it, that process, that camera is in a motion as you're as you're opening and closing the shutter.
Yep.
So that's why you will never see professionally produced photos or videos that are ever shot with a human hand on them, ever. And I was in audio video. I've got a degree, just an associate's degree, but I've got an associate's degree in audio video production arts. I've never in college seen a camera that wasn't on a tripod or wasn't on a big expensive rig that you held to deal with that stability problem. Yet us who use our phones understand that very simple, obvious fact to professionals, and all it takes is a $6 tripod from Amazon to solve it. It's an easy thing.
When it comes to the sound, you talk about the breathing. When it comes to the sound issues, there, I mean, you like Ralph was saying, you want to do everything you can to minimize that. But then the best videos that you're seeing out there, they're editing their audio separate from their video, and you can minimize a lot of that in Audacity or other audio editing software just by using a simple noise reduction feature and normalizing the video. You can improve that a lot.
Yeah.
Josh had a comment here, and I don't want to offend anybody by correcting this, but Josh has made a point of saying that the CP Christian train is in Michigan tonight. It's not the Christian train, it's the Christmas train.
Yep. They wouldn't announce the official location. I was going to go out and see it tonight.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't tell us exactly when or where, so here I am.
Of course not.
Wow,
they don't have track rights. They're not going to say where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, CSX makes a big deal out of it, but they own the trackage that they run the Christmas train down. They run it down the old Clearfield line. That's a big deal every year.
In CN, they have their Santa train that runs through my area as well, but they own the rail. And
is that the one that puts lights down the sides of every car?
That's CP.
I'd love to see that one. That would be cool.
Beautiful, yeah.
The reason why the CP one is down in the States right now is because it's trying to get across Canada. And some of the easiest way to get across is to drop down into the States and then come back up again.
I was getting ready to ask why you'd have to come to the States to get across, but actually I seen something the other day they were talking about. There's only one bridge between the entire eastern side of Canada and the western side, and it was out one time for 17 hours. The country was completely committed to with no way to.
That's right. And it's in the mountains.
Yeah, and it's a little bridge.
Yep. So that you can use the Windsor Tunnel. The Detroit Windsor Tunnel it's a double line that comes through.
Goes underneath the Detroit River.
Goes under the Detroit River, yeah. And there's actually a proposal to build a second one. And
really?
It was totally funded. And somebody took office as president, and that stopped.
That sounds about right.
Competition makes it.
Well, didn't the president go down to Conrail?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they said right now there's just not the economics for it. But the railroad funded, I think the state of Michigan funded a quarter of it. And Canada wanted it as well. It's good for them.
Yeah. Well, it services both countries, so just makes it so much simpler than trying to go across the bridge that they have there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Ron in Australia said, I find it hard even to get a video up these days, nor enough time time in the day. LOL. He spelled it N-O-Y. You know, doing like everybody, the fingers don't quite hit all the right keys, but not enough time. But Ron knows I'm going to rib him a little bit.
Or no enough time. Either way. Doy.
He's Australian. That's
Yeah,
Australian
that's right.
for not.
That could mean, yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Okay, I've got a question for some electrical expert.
Don't put
I'm
your
gonna turn my
fingers across the prongs when you plug it in.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
why
good advice, but
Ooh,
that's not the
look
question.
at this. He's trying to do like Luke Cowan.
Yeah, man.
We have had this conversation before. Some of you guys may remember a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually used Luke's plan, his first plan. He just came out with a second version like this last week.
Right.
And I originally bought this little bitty ion generator for 99 cents from China,
All
and
right.
it didn't. And this thing didn't work.
What's the output? And
says
what's the input as well? So
the input is 12 volts.
okay.
The output, I don't know. It's mostly written in Chinese. I can't read most of it. But anyway, this didn't work, and I thought, well, I paid 99 cents for it. I probably got what I paid for. All right, so I thought, oh, I'm just going to replace it, and I ordered another one. So I've got this one here that I ordered from an actual, reputable electronics place, and it still doesn't work. I've got my 12 volt power source. I've got literally 13 volts on both sides of my switch when my switch is on, and I'm getting nothing out of this ion generator.
Huh. And do you have continuity to the ground too? Check continuity to make sure you get the voltage. Check continuity, make sure you have a return path or a ground.
Yeah, but
I think I did that.
when you say you have 13 on two contacts, what type of switch is it?
It's
Double pole,
a double pole single throw, just an on-off switch.
On-off. Okay.
Yeah, double pole single throw.
Because you only have to put a break in the power on one side.
Right, and I thought about changing that, but it shouldn't matter. I mean, literally, if I turn the switch on, I can go to the ion generator side, and I've got 13 volts coming through.
Yeah. Yeah, I was assuming you had the electricity, probably. That makes sense that you have that.
So there's power getting to the generator.
Maybe.
All right, now, Bill.
Slide the generator?
Yeah, Bill Fusion's got a comment here. Is that 12 volts AC or DC?
That's 12 volt DC.
Yeah.
Going in. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the right component stuff there. Ground is pretty important, especially an ion generator really cares about ground. So, or at
There's
least
no ground. There's no ground. There's only two leads.
There's a ground, the negative side of the battery. Okay, that's why I said a return path, because that's the correct way to say it. A return path, or the negative side of the battery. So you have to have a good solid conductivity to the negative side, so it has somewhere to flow through. I have to look at a schematic on an ion generator. We talked about them a couple years ago or something, and I was looking at schematics for how they work, but I don't remember.
Well,
Luke Cowan has a new video up right now, and he has a diagram in there as well.
And his new one is interesting because it's got an optional power source. You can plug it in, or you can run it off a 9-volt battery, and it's wired to where you can use a double pole double throw switch to choose your power source, which is cool. I'd already built this. And this would be great if I get it to work.
I got a question. I mean, you're checking it with a meter. Is the meter going to read the output of the ion generator?
Well, I didn't try to read the output with the meter.
Side.
I literally just tried to spark it across, and I can't get anything.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to read that easily.
Yeah.
I think it blew my multimeter. I'm afraid if it was working properly.
Yeah, there's no easy way to read that without a load cell or something like that.
Yeah, but I get no spark. I get no spark whatsoever. if I, between the ground and the screen.
So the ion generator's not doing its job. We talked about that once when you were messing with that little 99-cent one.
Right. And I suspected that, like I said, I got what I paid for there, but I'm a little shocked that I got two that don't work in a row. And so my question was, is there, a major difference in ion generators? That's not an easy question to get an answer to through Google, I have discovered. Because if you search for ion generator, you get all this information about, air ionizers, not about the generators for a static grass applicator.
And I haven't tested this one, but I have one here as well. And it's 12 in, it's 1 watt, it's 4K to 6K out.
See, mine does not have that much information on it, so mine literally.
The interesting part of this is you have the 2 wires that go in, but there's also 2 coming out. And they have an interesting thing on the end. It's like little brushes on the end. It's not wires, like little brushes on the end of it.
Yeah. And most of them just have 1 wire coming out.
Oh, to make a spark, yeah. The idea is to make a really good surface contact with those little brush contacts. Same thing as using a brush in a motor for. That makes sense. I've done that before. We used to hook build capacitors that you could zap people with. It wasn't uncommon to put brushes on them. That was great fun at electronics school until somebody got the major one time, and that stopped.
So my inexpensive static grass applicator is going to start getting expensive if I have to start working on my 4th and 5th ion generator here.
Yeah.
And
I thought about that.
The few people that I've read that have kind of talked about it all say, well, we ordered ours from the same place Luke Talon got his, which is in Australia, which I could do that. It's going to be a little expensive to get it and ship it here. But you would think you should be able to get the exact same thing here in the States somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I found it once. When he first came out with that first video, I looked at it and found that.
Yeah.
What's the output of your wall wart?
12.
12 volt what? How many
Positive
amps?
12 volt, 1 amp. 1 amp.
Okay, that should work.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I had a bunch of these, and I went through and picked the one. I thought this one should be the best one that I got.
Yeah, but the output being AC, DC.
Well, if it doesn't say, how do they do it? DC voltage is AC volt. God, I can't think straight tonight. There is a difference of reading it, and it's just the way it's printed to tell the difference between AC and DC. DC usually doesn't say anything after it, just
yeah, or it'll say VDC. It's really common to see a VDC.
Yeah, or VAC.
Yeah, or VAC, or a lot of times you'll see AC as a wave.
I'm just wondering if maybe your wiring is reverse going into the ion generator.
I thought of that, and it should. By the way, they mark on even these little wires. They mark the positive with these little dashed lines. And so I knew I had it right, but when it wasn't working, just to try whatever, I reversed it, and it didn't work either. So I thought of that, and I tried that.
I'm looking at schematics right now, wrap my head around this thing.
Well, there's not too much to the wiring part. I mean, ultimately, literally, you've got 2 wires that go to the 2 wires of input on this thing, and there's 1 wire that comes out, and then a ground that connects to the ground that comes out of the switch. The wiring itself is pretty simple.
Yeah, it's direct power to generator. There's no other components in it, are there?
Right. No. Just literally. I mean, my ground is literally wired right into the same ground right on the switch, which is exactly how Luke did his in that original video.
That's more complicated than I was giving you credit for.
So your generator's got 2 wires going in, only 1 wire coming out.
Yes, as most of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them have 2 wires. Most of them just have 1 coming out. And you tie your ground into the negative wire
Anywhere.
on the input side, right?
Yeah, so all they're doing is they're using a common ground on the input as the output, which is electrically inside of it. It would be the same thing anyway. It's like you go to a meter box at the house or something. The white wire and the ground wire is tied together. I think that's stupid, but they are.
Right.
So you put a check continuity across. You get continuity on the 2 sides of the plug in your house, but they do that on all kinds of things. I like isolation better, but you don't get it.
Yeah. Well, let these guys know out here in the chat, because CG, he did check the power. It's the power supply. It's good. And check the switch. It's good. It's got the same voltage going in and coming out of it, so he knows that's working.
You got juice. Got juice to it. Got a continuity on ground coming away from it. So
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a couple of ion generators to the hammer channel.
Huh? Or the guy who has that big expensive blender or something.
I want to see what that guy's big hammer will do to him, because I'm pretty fed up with him.
Yeah, I look into this a little deeper electronically. I haven't looked at the specifics of how.
Yeah, Bill Fusion's asking, is the power supply cell phone power supply type?
No.
No, you need more. I don't know if you do or don't. It seems like you need more juice off from it.
I'm trying to remember exactly what this was originally from, and I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is, whatever it's from, that it's got, you know,
Yeah, see, I just
positive
pulled this
12-volt
apart.
output.
How many amps?
1 amp.
1 amp. That should be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's more than most of them put out.
Yeah, an amp's
Walmart's
plenty.
put out less than an amp.
Yeah.
Well, you very little amps. The static grass generator puts out trivial amounts of micro amps,
Right.
but a whole lot of voltage.
It's all voltage, right?
Yeah, 20, 30, 40,000.
Ralph has just took something apart here. What's that, Ralph?
it's one of those fly swatter things. And
See, I thought about going that direction, but
again, what they've done is the 1 wire coming from the negative side is the wire they broke with the switch.
it just broke the 1 wire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kills the ground.
Just broke the
why would
1
that-
wire.
Why would that make a difference?
It doesn't. I don't think it does.
The fact of the matter is, like I said, I'm getting 13 volts on both sides of the switch. If I got the switch on, I can go on the ion on the generator side, and I've got 13 volts coming all the way through the switch.
I can
So-
see why you would put the switch on the ground. There's some safety reasons and stuff that makes some sense of why to put it on the ground, but
Yeah,
I can't see an operational issue with it being on the power.
functionally, right?
Yeah, functional. No, it don't matter. I mean, when the switch is closed, it's not there. So you close the switch, it's out of your circuit.
I don't know what to tell you.
Touch your tongue to it.
Right on.
That'll get your attention if it
It
works.
certainly will, especially if it works.
Right.
So the real question is how much did that cost you, and how much time have you spent on it? Because if you're
Now-
valuable to you, just buy it.
Well, but they're expensive. You're going to be
That's the thing. The ones like this are they're like $150.
You get them for
Literally,
You can get one
yeah.
similar to that for about 35 off of eBay.
Yeah, I haven't seen a great.
And Micromark has them as well.
and
Micromark's got the little basket kind, and I have one of those. I really wanted to build this, A, for the experience, and B, I wanted to compare how it functioned. I mean, the basket one I've got, it's battery powered, and it works pretty good. As
For
far as
sure.
expense, literally, if it wasn't for the only things I purchased to build this thing are the switch, and the ion generator. You know, I had the PVC pipe laying around the garage. I stole a little container out of my wife's kitchen. Don't tell her. The wire I had, the wall wart I had laying around, I literally bought $1, and then the first ion generator for $1. And when that didn't work, I think I paid probably $10 for this one. I think $9.99, something like that.
There's something else wrong though. The chance of you having 2 ion generators, it's possible with these cheap electronic parts, cheap Taiwanese Chinese parts. I've had a few bad things like that, but it's rare.
Well, that's the whole thing. So my next question would be, okay, what is a brand or a source of an ion generator that I can get that I know reliably it's going to be good?
Well, hopefully Lloyd's in here. Lloyd says $60 from China, worked extremely well. Lloyd, if you can let us know, what brand or who you bought that from.
I can show you exactly the one he's got, but I can't tell you who he got it from.
And how tall grass can you put with it? Because I've had fine luck with 6 mil or less through low-powered woods. But the benefit to building wood is that you can stand 12-millimeter grass up if you wanted to.
Yeah, this is the one that Lloyd has.
I'm an inch dealer, so 12-millimeter grass is like a tree.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're going to need a really powerful one.
I'm really looking at
grass.
I do 12 mil. It's just
right. I'm looking at 2 and 4 millimeters. What I'm looking at.
4 is easy. 4 is easy.
Get it figured out, Ron. So once I get there, I'll go on your channel and I'll steal it.
It gets significantly
harder. See, that was my whole thing. I was going to build this, and I was going to do a video on having made it and compare it to the one that I've got, and I can't make a video if I can't get this stupid thing to work.
Well, Lloyd got this one from China, and initially it didn't work. So he called them back, or he sent them an email, and they said, okay, we'll send you a new one. So he sent me the old one, and I opened it up, and there was a wire broken to the switch. So I fixed the wire. Now it works. So I have the one that he replaced.
It works.
$60, and it has a cones on that you can put on it to direct it.
Yeah, that's I dig that.
If I can get the plastic off. There. So it's concentric, so you can get into the corners.
Right. The original Noke had a cone similar to that.
Yeah.
Or knock or
that was awesome.
Yeah, but
I just can't see dropping $1.70, man. I just can't.
Right. I'm right there with you.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you got that one, Andy. Did you ever get that one from England, the flop box, for $35?
Let's see. I
know you talked about maybe ordering that, but that one from England.
I love that one.
Yeah, it turned out to be pretty decent. Ron Perry uses it. He's got one and uses it.
Well, it's so flexible. Supposedly, you could use it. You could just click it. Click the clips on any colander, metal colander that you have, and apply grass with it, or stand up grass, throw grass on the machine, and then take a piece of aluminum foil or something like that, put a couple dots of glue on it, and just kind of hold it across it 2 or 3 inches away, and all the grass comes straight up to it. So you got gravity on your side, making those grass follicles, those rayon follicles, be upright. I never did get one though. Something happened and I got to reorder that. So I need to try that again sometime. But I only found it that cheap one time.
Yeah. Well, Lloyd's here now, so he can tell us what he's got.
Well, like Ralph was saying, personally, I really like it. And Ron, sometimes, I know this is a hobby that we're supposed to build stuff and have fun building it. But to be honest, the money you spend and the amount of time that you're going to spend, I mean, you can just buy that thing from China for, that was $60 Canadian, so it's probably $45 US.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
see,
pretty
for me,
cheap.
now it's become a puzzle. Now it's become a challenge.
Well,
And I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that. But I'm one of these guys that I started this thing. I got to find some way to make it work.
And
or
I
I'm gonna
preach
be
the
disappointed.
benefits of DIY to people all the time. I rarely talk about cost as being the big benefit. I mean, it's a benefit. It matters. The reason I build stuff myself a lot of the time is flexibility. And if you build it yourself, you could put enough power in there to stand static grass on the building across the street if you wanted to. You could intersperse a potato gun and an ion generator, and you could stand in the middle of your room on a ladder and grass the whole layout. But it's that flexibility. The whole reason I wanted to build my own applicator was because of flexibility. I put one of those big 40,000 watt static watt or ion generators that Johnny found in South Korea one time in that thing.
Did it work?
What's that?
So that one I found, it worked?
I don't know. I have never have ordered one of them. I said I'd like to order one of those for. That's the big benefit. The big reason I would like to build, and all I've done for my static grass generator is just a little fly swatter contraption, and it's okay, but you have to treat it a certain way to get the grass to stand up, and that's up to about 6 mil, and even 6 mil doesn't do great. I waste a lot of grass material or rayon material.
I've done all the way to 10 millimeters with no problem.
Then you'd be fine. Unless you're at O scale, do it higher than
No, I know.
God.
But I was trying out samples, and yeah, 10 is a bit too long.
And I like 10 millimeter because it gives you some flexibility to come back and cut it with with a beard trimmer. I do that. I buy these grass mats. Like I've got some hecky grass mats that I'm working with right. Well, I'm playing with for right here. I got a hecky grass mat on the.
And Andy, are you gonna build the beard trimmer too?
No, I bought that because I don't.
Oh,
but it's not.
Why did you buy that? I mean,
well, because I don't need flexibility in beard trimmers. Because I can go out and buy a pretty doggone like I bought that works real well for it. But I have not seen a static grass generator that I love that wasn't more money than I felt like that. Gosh, that one from Doc is just the bee's knees, but it's $175.
$170, right?
yeah.
There's your beard trimmer. It comes on a Schick razor, so you put your blades on the here and you shave. You trim your beard with that.
Yep.
And then you take it down and trim your static grass.
Yep.
So what I do with I trim static grass, or I put the woodland, or I've trimmed rope with it, or twine. Take whatever sisal twine and play, break it all apart and play with it. Then take a beard trimmer to chop it up, because any grass you put down, even if you mix multiple sizes together, it still ends up being pretty regular looking, a little too even.
Too manicured.
Yeah. And that's great for a yard, and I do that for a yard. For a yard, I put the #1 guard on it and run it through there, and I have a manicured lawn. And you could do that and run it right up to a certain point, and then stand the guy with the lawnmower there, so it's cut on one side, not cut on the other. I use those Walther's Cornerstone. They're cheap grass mats. For a manicured yard look, that's an $8 or $10, maybe $12 grass mat. It's quite large. It's 1.5 by a foot or something. And that's one of the cheapest mats on the market that are static grass. They look really good, but the hecky is superb.
All right. Well, Dwight come in here earlier.
I'm not sure how well I could tell the.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know how much I could tell the difference between a needing to be mowed. I was just thinking that through.
That'd be tough, because you're talking about the difference in 1 millimeter and 2 millimeters or something, and that's not even a scale. That's exaggerated scale.
Right.
Remember,
Right.
in HO scale, 3.5 millimeters is a foot. 3.5 millimeters is a foot. So if you're putting 4 millimeter grass down and it's all standing up, that's a foot tall. However, what I do is put my glue down, stand my grass up, and then use the finest silt dust I have, and I dust it with a colander so that I cover up all that glue and keep it from being shiny. That's some of that grass is going to be its roots. You're going to lose a little depth.
Right.
How do you fix that dust down?
With the glue that the static grass is going down to, and then I just come back and back the whole thing afterwards.
Okay.
And there's been a few spots where I've had a bare spot, and I've had to wick glue, water, or diluted glue, had to wick it in a little bit and then dust it, but only a spot or two. And you can't even see the glue as much as you can see it shiny. Occasionally you get a shiny spot. That's the glue. Or you could put the glue in, or put the dirt down. Like if you had a small shiny spot, put the dirt down and soak it with hairspray. That's the best glue there is on the planet.
All right, Dwight had a question. We were talking about that static applicator. So, but anyway, he's got a siding on his layout. It's already wired to the bus and everything. He wanted to know what's the best way to isolate it, either gap 1 rail or gap 2 rails.
Just one. Just gap 1 rail.
Yeah.
Gap 1 rail, separate that feeder that's going
At
to
both ends.
And add a switch to complete the continuity.
Yeah.
Or
like an electrical switch.
Yeah.
if you want a mechanical switch, or you could get there's a box called an aux box, AUX box, that hooks the DCC, and it will throw regular electrical switches for you with a DCC signal. If you had numerous of those, like if you had a staging guard and you want to kill the power to each individual track.
Well, this is Dwight, so he's just putting a regular on-off switch on it, but he'll need to isolate both ends of that rail.
Yes, and if you're just cutting power, cut one gap is fine. If you're making a programming track or a switchable programming track, you need a dead section between the two.
Yep.
You don't want a locomotive to run from programming on to ops track of the main, or vice versa. So when you flip that switch over, it needs to cut the power to a few inches of the track.
Yeah, he wanted to know single pole or double pole.
Just a single pole, single throw, just an on-off switch, like a light switch, overhead light switch, but a toggle switch.
Yeah, he says it's not a program track, so he must be wanting to use it for a storage track.
Yeah, cut power is a good idea.
Is it double-ended? Can you come in and out from both sides? If it's just a branch that's dead-ended, then you only have to cut the one rail in one spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it's double-ended, you got to cut it at both ends.
Oh yeah, and cut that section of the bus, or cut both however many feeders are on it, and run them through a single wire through that toggle and back to the primary bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says not double-ended. So.
Not double-ended. Okay, so a single gap in it will do the trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can even switch those with tortoises and stuff. If you have a tortoise and you want to kill the power to a track that the turnout's not lined for, like a stub-in staging or something, you can power the track through the tortoise.
Actually, there's another way of doing it. If you use a pico turnout,
Yeah, electro.
don't power the siding.
Yeah.
Use your pico turnout. So when the turnout is selected to that siding, it will power that siding automatically. And as soon as you switch the other way, that siding will go dead.
I've done that. I used to do that and use those pico under track, like we talked about this some time ago, with those pico under track solenoid machines, and it worked great. But I'm very reluctant to trust mechanical electrical connections. I like things physically connected solder. That's why I don't like rail joiners at all. I don't even use rail joiners. I don't trust them for electricity, though.
Yeah, because picos are power routing turnouts. I think Atlas was too for a while there.
Oh, there was some one of the series of Atlas had had a feature where it could be power routing if you clipped the wire under it or something. There was something like that. I don't remember.
But yeah, Pico's known for their power routing turnouts.
Yep.
Yeah, it can simplify your wiring a lot in a traditional wiring arrangement.
Yeah.
With DCC, we just need too much power. So the idea of not putting feeders on a track, I mean, I understand if you don't put them every rail. You know, that's up to opinion. I put them every rail. But the idea of having a 20-foot piece of track without any feeders on it, that sounds like a recipe for trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Or a headache.
Yeah, Brian W. said Cato number 6 is also power routing. The number 4s can supply power to both the diverging route and the main.
Oh, the Cato ready track like it is. They make an Actros scale too now, so.
Yep. So how's that fire escape coming along, Lloyd?
Coming great. I just gave it a coat of gray metal.
Yeah, if you pull your microphone down, we might hear you a little better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks like an industrial walkway, like at a oil refinery or a convent. It looks awesome.
It's brewery.
Yeah.
Fire escape to his brewery.
Oh yeah, it looks exactly like what you'd expect in a big industrial application. And I don't know of anybody that makes one that's really that similar to that. Cornerstone,
Nobody.
One, but it's not really that as industrial as that is.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody makes it. I saw something that 2-story high from Shapeways.
Yeah, that's pretty delicate.
Have you checked out Wild Hair Models?
No.
He does it in photo etched.
On grass, it's spectacular, but it's not industrial. It's like a city escape, or a fire escape for a city, not to escape the city.
Got all my railings, my stair railings done also.
Yeah.
They're all painted.
Do you make them out of individual pieces?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He's not messing around.
No,
This is a guy that hasn't modeled before.
yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah, he's been pulling our leg for how long now?
Yeah, I don't think Lloyd's his real name. I think it's some other name, but I think we would all recognize him from all the model press for everything else he's scratch built. But he's trying to lay low, cut down all the publicity.
I'm gonna add Arduino to my repertoire.
In the famous
Now he's throwing in big French words. There's that guy Ron again.
Figured you were tired of looking at this thing. I am. For tonight.
That's like you are. Work on projects. I work on projects till I'm tired of them. Pretty much. I always feel like there's more to do, but I just get to a point where I get tired of something. And sometimes I'll come back to it.
That's one of the reasons why I always have about 5 or 6 projects going at once.
Oh,
For one thing, you get to a place where you're like, okay, I need to stop this, so I'm going to go work on something else while that glue dries, paint dries, whatever. But also, I just have a lot of railroading ADHD. I get bored with something, and so I want to go on and do something else for a while and then come back to it. I'm bad about that.
absolutely.
Just 5 or 6?
Well, at least 5 or 6.
And I don't always know what I want to do. Sometimes something has to set, and I have to kind of live with
Right.
it. few days to figure, or a few weeks sometimes to figure it out.
I'm especially that way with scenery. I'll work on scenery for a little bit, then I'm like, I don't really know how I want this to look yet. And sometimes I may walk away from it for months before I finally figure out, okay, here's what I want, or I see a picture, or I see something else,
It inspires you to go back there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Ron in Australia, Ron, he says, Ron, we never get tired of watching someone else work.
I used to use that phrase at work. Work fascinates me. I can sit and watch it for hours.
Listen, Jerry Seinfeld used to do a bit about that, about how guys didn't like to work, they like to watch other guys work. That's why when one guy's in his driveway working on his car, there's like 6 neighbors standing around, asking,
watching him.
What is that, the 9/16 wrench you're using there? Yeah.
Yeah, we do have some kind of fascination. It feeds everything we like. It feeds our fascination with gear, tools, making something, socializing. Actually doing the work only fulfills the doing the work part. It's just one thing. Watching somebody else work satisfies you on 2 different ways.
Well, it's actually fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, North Star, which is Dwight, said Lloyd has patience, and Lloyd's response was lots and lots.
Patience is the greatest gift that age gives you. It's probably the only thing that age gives you, because every other thing age takes away from you. Patience. I was not patient. I was not a patient modeler on any, my 13th layout, I've never built one that I was patient. Never. Well, that's something good, Ralph.
Another N scale thing.
Yeah, you're done with that one, aren't you?
Just about. Just a coat of varnish, a little bit of powder, and I'm good. Actually, I have to do the other side. I'm sorry. I have to do the other side.
Nah, you don't have to.
Well, you only see one side at a time, right?
Or does the guy have a reverse loop on his layout? If it doesn't, if you don't, it don't matter. But Miles talked about a guy who had a layout that you couldn't turn, that whatever, and he had painted each car with like CP on one side and the different railroad on the other side or whatever, and he would send them one way or put them, turn them around and hit different cars.
When it came the other way, it was a different train.
Yeah,
doubles your fleet. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep. And
screws everybody up for operations, but
it's not good for operating trains. But if you have run-through service, that's entirely viable. Like I could do that on my Clinchfield line. It's not operational. It's going to be entirely automated. So you get those run-through trains. So through the operating session, it'll run 4, 5, 6 trains back and forth. But if I painted the cars 2 different ways, I wouldn't do that. But if I did, I'd get a lot more diversity.
I've got a helix, so you see both sides of my cars, so that would be a little confusing.
Yeah. Is your helix visible?
Yeah.
Say what?
Did you see your helix? Is your helix visible?
Yes.
I thought about what to do, about whether to put a hole on the outside. So my helix goes right here in the middle of the road, which is kind of awful, but it'll have scenery on top of it. There's a platform, so you can stand up there, operate where the line diverges to the branch line. But I thought about where it comes out right here, there's a hole somewhere in here where you can see, which is pretty easy. I mean, this thing, talking about bigger eye level, I mean, it's nothing right up the side of it. I don't know.
Yeah, my helix is all completely visible. And of course, my layout shares space with our family room, so my Helix literally sits right next to our television. So it's kind of the centerpiece of the room, really. It's a marvel of modern engineering. That's why I tell my wife all the time.
Have you convinced her of that?
Well, she's quit complaining about it. It's been there for like 6 years. So.
I would call it.
She's probably given up for now. She's going to wait until you want something.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And then she's going to remind you.
Well, after 6 years, you probably would that with just by outpatience.
No, I don't think so. Never. Not with a woman.
I'm not convinced of that. No.
All right.
Ralph put up another box
for me, the whole thing was, everybody's biggest complaint about a Helix is, well, you lose your train and my Helix is long. I mean, I've literally have nearly 100 feet of track in that Helix. That's a long time to not see a train. So
Wow.
How many loops is it?
9.5.
Holy mackerel.
I wanted real distance between those decks, and I've got 14 inches of clear distance between the track, between the rails on the lower deck and the fascia on the upper deck. I've got 14 inches.
Wow. What diameter is it?
36 inches.
Nice.
Okay. Like my Helix is 5 feet. 5 feet. 5'6", and I only have 2.5 loops at 2%.
Yeah.
Hang on,
and I get 10 inches out of it.
Well, see, I got like 18 out of mine because I got 14 inches of clear distance. So
let's see that again. Let's see that again, Ari, because I got you blown up now.
All right.
What'd you make that abutment out of?
That's a styrene.
Okay, I thought
it's, 0.04, and then the top sill plate is really, really thin stuff. So probably 0.1. But I got the backrest there.
Not too close. Back up a little bit.
See that contrast there.
Okay.
So you got that seat, and that's up in scale. That's 3 feet for that plate to sit on. So that would match up like that.
Yeah, you got shoes or plates that it sets on, or you set
Yeah,
the
I got those. I got some micro engineering shoes.
Yeah, that's what I
do.
Do your homework on a plate girder. It's not shoes.
I know. I did the same thing. I've been using shoes on a lot of stuff too, but on these plate girders, I've been looking at photos, and sometimes I'm using these stationary ones, not the microengineering ones, because the microengineering ones have a pivot point in the middle where it can contract each way. But what they use under most of these is they'll use a pivot side on one side, or they'll use two plates, plate on top of plate. And on the far side, they'll have a stationary one. And I found some on Shapeways, 3D printing. And I bought them in not FUD, not the high detail or frosted ultra detail, but the next one down from that. So it had a texture to it. It doesn't have the lines and stuff in it like a home 3D printer, but it has a texture to it, which is perfect for some rusty steel.
I don't think it's going to show up. I might do a thin little plate underneath of it and just like put a line of rust on it.
Yeah. Yeah, paint's gonna show more than the actual part's gonna show. Here they are. And there's
it might be impossible. In N scale, you wouldn't see anything.
No, but those are little stationary shoes.
Okay.
But they're I'm lucky I found these. And actually, somebody here in the community found them on Shapeways amongst the conversations that I had, because as you would expect, I talked about this for several months before I figured out exactly which bridge shoe.
Not you.
I try to fight that tendency sometimes, but right's right.
I overanalyze too. I can kind of relate.
Yeah, I have all these, what do you call those things? Those little adages or whatever you say. All these little sayings for that. You know, anything worth doing is worth overdoing, or little sayings like that or whatever. But I do think it's a very minor, not necessary for medication form of OCD, you know, the level, because it annoys me. The stuff, you know, if something is wrong, it will genuinely annoy me. And I will be sitting at work someday thinking, there's no way I'm going to let that ride. As soon as I come home, I'm tearing it out.
Yeah. I've done that. My wife came down and she goes, doesn't your backdrop bother you? Because I got some jagged edges on it and it's not set. I said, no. I said, this is for me, you know. And I said, this isn't going to be a masterpiece. I just like the process. You know?
If my wife come in and said that, I was like, well, it wasn't until now.
No, it won't bother me a bit. I'll look right past it. And once it's painted, you won't really notice it.
My wife has completion issues. She can't imagine the idea of doing a hobby that honestly never really gets finished. It's totally beyond her.
She's very supportive of my hobby. In fact, I went upstairs just before the show started, and I told her, I said, I'm not going to do the show. So
what, Ron's wife is supportive of yours?
Oh, no. Might be. I don't know.
But she's supportive of somebody.
But she said she was bored. She's like, I just can't get motivated. She's going to do some knitting or something. I said, there's plenty of room in the basement to start another layout if you want to. And she's like, I don't know about that. But
interlocking.
That's right. I designed it so you can add on modules. So if I can get her to build a module, that'd be great.
Good luck. There are a few guys who have got like Miles. You know, Fred does that stuff with him lockstep, and he's got a keeper. He knows that, obviously, but a wife who's willing to model with you, that's rare.
Kira likes the craft portion of it. She's like, oh, I need to go get new paintbrushes. Oh, I need new paintbrushes too. Oh, I need to go get, you know, this crafting supply. She's all about going to Joann's or going wherever and trying to find the cheapest whatever. For us, whatever gives us money and gets us more of what we want, you know, the better. But I think she could take or leave the trains, but the building of the models, she is interested. She's bought her own models for her to build some houses that we're going to put up on the out. So
that's good. That's awesome. I thought my wife would take to that. She's artistic in every way. She's doing all kinds of stuff all the time. She does like the spray booth and the air gun, you know, the airbrushes. She digs that stuff. She's artistic as she can be. I thought she would really enjoy the trees, the scenery. She loves painting that stuff. It is a pretty, you know, pretty darn good painter. Talk about painting my backdrops, but I'm such a big fan of these photo backdrops.
She's very eager for me. She's the one that's actually been pushing me to get this cleaned up and get the backdrop painted because she wants to come in and put clouds in. We're going to get some cloud stencils. And, you know.
Yeah, Brian said his wife's doing rock castings and painting tonight.
That would seem like a good project to do, you know, with a couple, that you could team up and work on because it's kind of involved to get the plaster time to get all that right. A little help would be helpful there.
She asked me, she's like, anything I can help you with? And I'll tell her what I'm doing, and she's like, yeah, okay. But when we do like runs to Home Depot, and I take my portable saw with me, she'll be out there cutting lumber with me so we can get it in our car, you know. She puts up with it.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about taking a battery saw.
It's a little bit more accurate cuts than some of their saws.
Oh, yeah. I hate having them.
They're tabletop carts. I can clamp right to it and put a straight line down and rip it.
I hate having them. I've heard people talk about, you're building a layout, just go take this to Home Depot and have them cut you a piece of plywood like this. I've never had them cut anything that it wasn't awful. So
yeah. That's why my backdrop is so wavy.
Well, they got so many people using those saws and all, they get out of alignment, and nobody knows how to line a saw anyway. and they're not going to take the time to do it.
No, I don't. Carpenters do that much. I was on a construction site today with carpenters, but talking to those guys, they probably did. But I never see anybody take their rip fence. They always slide the rip fence and lock it down, and they're good. I've always pull a measure tape on each side of the blade to test it because they kick around a little bit and to set that distance. But you don't see people do that.
Well, yeah, that all depends.
If you know your tool, and you know if it goes out or not, you can. That's where some of these guys, they don't have to do anything.
Yeah, and it also depends on your rip fence too, because like the one I've got on my table saw, it's double barred on both sides, and it is really accurate. Took my time, got everything on there right, got it good and straight, and I can just move it up and down, lock it down, and go on.
I've never had wood. I could move them a little bit if I kept it pushed to one side, like they twist just a little bit, because mine locked down on one side, had that one little spring action mechanism locked down, and it would twist to one side. If I had it measured right and I slid it out a ½ inch, I could slide it out and keep all the pressure, keep it twisted one way, keep the pressure. I could do that and just move it around. But if I ever took it off and put it back on, I always said to reposition that.
Well, see, that's your cheaper rip fences. The one I've got was almost $300. So.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I didn't pay that for the whole.
Yeah. It's repeatable.
My saw didn't cost that much.
No, it's like $90.
Well, my saw didn't cost that much either. It's a Sears and Roebuck saw. I bought it on sale. So, but it was the last year. It was the last year they had the solid cast iron tabletop on them. So I went ahead and bought the thing. Yeah. And then I put a Vega rip fence system on it years later.
You bought a cheap saw and put a big expensive fence set on it. That's smart. That's the stuff that matters.
It works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the saw just turns. Take a motor, strap a blade to it, you got the saw. It's the fences that make the difference.
Well, the fence and the blades. I run Freud carbide tip blades on my table saw. They run about $100 a blade.
I know. I just can't never let go of that much money for them. They're great. I used to use them on my trim saw when I was cutting kind of expensive stuff, but
yeah. Well, if you're doing good wood, you want a good blade. I mean, I make my cuts with it. Didn't matter if it's cross cut, rip cut. I didn't have to sand it. It was a good, clean cut.
Yep.
And you cut relatively fast, whereas, even with if you don't buy those pretty exotic blades like that, you've got to cut pretty slow to keep this MDF trim from kind of burning.
It all depends on the number of teeth on your blade.
Well, I mean, these little trim blades are like, I don't know, 80, 90 teeth. I mean, they're 120
They're
teeth.
not even that. It's 40 or 60.
I don't know. They're pretty.
But your fine one is 80 to 100 teeth per blade.
That's what I'm talking about. If you're cutting trim, I used as many teeth as I could get cutting trim. Now, when I did it professionally as a carpenter, I used good blades, but on like a jigsaw where you cope out the trim and stuff with that, I wanted just about the coarsest blade I could get, so I could get that coping down to 10 or 15 seconds instead of a minute and a half. But I was obsessive about that too. 20 years ago, I had a pocket watch, carried a pocket watch like a moron or something. But and I would set my watch down and time myself until I got my speed up on every step I did. I was OCD about it all.
I was just going to say, that sounds like OCD.
I prefer.
Well, you got 30 seconds to finish your OCD.
Over it.
Go. No.
It's good for modeling. OCD is good for modeling.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half, so I think we're about ready to let this one go.
Shut her down.
So, anybody got any quick comments or statements? Speak now. I guess not. Okay. Get over here and I want to say thanks to everybody over in the chat for coming in tonight. We've had another good show. Too bad we didn't quite quite get Ron's static grass applicator working for him, but we'll see what we can do with that.
We'll bring it back next week.
Yeah.
Part 2 next week. Stay tuned.
But anyway, go to YouTubeMallBuilders.com. There you can check the schedule for the shows. The Tuesday, Wednesday shows are at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The Thursday show and the once a month Saturday show is 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Well, also be sure and click on the e-mag while you're there at the website. Sign up for an email notification when it comes out. This month is the last month for 17 on the e-mag, and that one was dedicated to N-scale. And it was a good read. Let's see what we got here in the book for December, because yeah, this is the last show of November here, so we're starting into December.
Yeah.
Got December the 6th is going to be the Arduino show with Chris. Then December the 12th is Miles Hale's going to do a show for us. December the 14th will be the Fine Scale with Andy and his crew. December the 16th will be the live show. December 20th is the Into the Locomotive Shop with Joe. And then December 26th will be Ralph's Weathering show. And that Ralph will be the one to bring the year to a close. We'll start off again in January for 2018. But you can go to the website, check the schedules. I got everything corrected now for December. Hopefully I don't have to make any more changes. So everything's
Johnny, can I
stay like
can I
it
add
is.
something here?
Yeah, go ahead.
If anybody is interested in some weathering stuff, if you have any questions or whatever, put it on the video, on the comments below, and I will try to address it at the next show.
All right, that'll be good. All right, well, thank everybody for coming in on the live chat. Thank everybody here on the panel for coming in. And we shall see you on December the 6th for the Arduino show. So everybody have a good weekend. We shall see you later.